I can't do this anymore. I quit. Have you ever thought about quitting your job and doing something completely different with your life? Move to the tropics, sip coconut for breakfast, maybe go surfing? Well, that's exactly what I did. Let me ask you, what did you want to do when you grew up? As a teenager, I didn't know the answer to this question. My family convinced me to become an engineer. This was the identity worth pursuing according to them. They told me all of the amazing things that come with this: respect, stable income, and a bright future. But it wasn't only my family, also society. Before we're old enough to make our own decisions, society has already set a plan for us. Acquire a skill set that makes you valuable. Get a job, find your purpose, and serve your community. So, I followed this plan. I took my master's and worked as an aerospace engineer. 7 years of my life to realize one thing. This life, this identity, was not for me. So, I quit. I remember I took a spontaneous decision, and next thing I knew, I was on a plane to Morocco to learn how to surf. And as soon as I took that first wave, whew, I was hooked. Imagine surfing at sunset at exotic locations together with free-spirited people. This life resonated with me. What was supposed to be 2 months break became 2 years of my life working as a surf manager and traveling around the world. You know the expression, if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, and swims like a duck, it's probably a what? A duck, exactly. I became a different person from who I was, shifting to this new identity. The clothes I used to wear to the office was replaced with shorts, flip-flops, and sunscreen on my face. I started calling everyone bro and man. Sup, bro? Hey, man. A goodbye and a hello came always with a shaka. And when I was in a real good mood, I'll throw in a ew for good vibes. The aerospace engineer that was following society's plan, he was gone. I became the free-spirited surfer. Isn't it amazing how much impact your job can have on you? I thought my identity was something I was born with. But this experience showed me I can change who I am with a new job. So, for the past 10 years, I've changed jobs over 10 times. Each job showed me a different identity. I've been a designer, business developer, project manager, and even a food photographer. But this next job, however, was different. It felt special. In 2020, I just got my dream job as an Agile coach. As a coach, I help others overcome their obstacles in their job by asking them questions. My superpower has always been asking the right questions, so when you combine that with helping others, it's a match made in heaven. I was in love with this job. To put it in context, if my past job was like, casual dating, this was like calling your mom and saying, "Mom, I think I found the one." However, a month in, the pandemic hit. And next thing I knew, I was laid off. I'm not gonna lie, I was devastated. and honestly, I felt rejected. My manager convinced me it wasn't because of my job performance. But in my mind, all I can hear him say was, "Chris, it's not you, it's me." I know it doesn't really make sense, but for me, it felt like a breakup. Everything was finally going my way, but in a blink of an eye, I was unemployed. My job has always given me validation. And now when I didn't have it, I felt worthless. There's always been a stigma around unemployment. And now when I was in it, I felt ashamed. What will people think of me now, huh? The thought of that, people knowing I was unemployed, made me panic. So I started to apply for new jobs, but nobody was hiring. The job market was brutal. I accepted reality that I might not find a job for a while. I felt helpless. Changing jobs has always been my choice, but the pandemic changed that. Acquire a skill set that makes you valuable. Get a job, find your purpose, and serve your community. I suddenly didn't have a job, I didn't have a purpose, and I wasn't serving anyone. At that moment, I didn't know who I was anymore. I had an identity crisis, and I felt lost. I still remember the turning point, though. I was talking to a friend, and let's face it, we all have a friend like this. He told me, "Chris, you may be a coach without a job, but you're still a damn coach. Start acting like one." That advice was like a punch in the face, but it made me think, can I coach myself out of unemployment? There's this thought exercise I used to do called inversion thinking. It's about taking a problem and flipping it upside down in order to see it from a different perspective. When life throws you lemons, you can either make lemonade or complain over oranges that you never got. I was thrown into unemployment, but I still had a choice on how I wanted to approach this. So, the question I asked myself was, instead of seeing unemployment as an obstacle, how can I see it as an opportunity? For the first time in my life, I removed myself from my job. I embraced unemployment and wore it as a badge of honor. I chose to expose my fears of what others might think of me. And I did that by sharing my news on social media. I'm unemployed. I got laid off. There, I said it. Announcing to people that I was actively unemployed was liberating. I've always had a plan, but this time I chose not to have one. It was uncomfortable to let go of control when I needed it the most. But I challenged myself, and I ended up doing this for 100 days straight. Don't get me wrong. It was difficult, and I still felt lost. I found comfort in journaling and sharing my job loss experience with others. Something surprising happened. To be lost revealed a new side of me that I didn't know I had. Being open about my struggle showed me the power of vulnerability. Others reached out and shared their own struggles with unemployment. I remember I suddenly felt this support and connection from these people. It was like I was suffering alone, but now we were struggling together. And over time, a new feeling took over. Relief. I was finally at peace of being unemployed. Here's the thing. Your job is something you do and not something you are. You are not defined by it. Your job is not your identity. But I get it. When you're great at what you do and you get praise for it, It reinforces your job with who you are. When it's suddenly taken away from you, losing that job can feel like losing yourself. Your job doesn't define you. Far from it. I learned that the choices you make to the experience you face is what truly shape you. Becoming a surfer, losing my dream job, and coaching myself out of unemployment, these are the experience and choices that made me. We all hold on to something that becomes our identity. Parenthood, relationship, careers. But kids grow up, relationship ends, and we all go into retirement. These are significant life transitions that will make you ask yourself, who am I now? When that happens, your urge is to answer that question. My advice? Don't. Take a break and step away from the identity you've been holding on to. Feel lost in order to find yourself again. Think about it. I lost my job. I felt lost, which led me to a self-discovery journey. And now, I'm standing on this very stage, sharing that journey with you. Isn't that crazy? You will be faced with layoffs, breakups, and retirement in your life. When that happens, you might feel lost, and that's okay. Life is 10% what happens and 90% how you choose to approach it. So, I encourage you, instead of asking the question, who am I? Why not ask yourself, who do I choose to become now? You might be surprised what identity is revealed to you. Thank you.